Welcome to the Former Fat Friend podcast. I'm Kasey.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Allie, and together we've lost over 370 pounds.
We all know what it's like to be the fat friend, and now we are sharing the ins and outs of our weight loss journeys.
You guys, it's the season 1 finale.
Yay! I can't believe it. This season has flown by.
We did a podcast.
I can't believe, I feel like we just started this.
I know.
Well, it's not ending.
We did just start this.
Yeah, we're talking like this is the last episode ever. There will be a season 2.
No, but I feel like we just learned how to use a microphone like a week ago.
I know. We're going to forget everything we learned.
Yeah. This season has been so much fun. And just for our listeners, so you know, we're taking the summer off, but we'll be back in August. So not to worry.
I feel like I'm a kid in school and I'm about to go on summer break.
Yeah.
Except that we all have full-time jobs. So.
Yeah. We also are going to have to figure out when we hang out because scheduling to record these has been a challenge and we can't not hang out now.
It's going to be warm, so we're going to go back to summer walks.
Yeah, remember when your mom thought we wouldn't be friends anymore when we couldn't walk outside?
She did. She was like, do you think you'll still hang out with those girls when the weather's not nice anymore? And I was like,
whether you like it or not.
We didn't speak yesterday for less than 24 hours and it was the longest time. And I literally texted you both and was like, just checking for signs of life. Yeah. And then when Allie didn't respond, I checked her location.
I'm glad that you had that level of care.
So today we asked you guys what you wanted us to talk about. We did a little Q&A poll on the gram and we're going to go through some of your questions. Kasey, hit us.
Yeah, so I think this was great because, you know, we've covered a lot of topics this season that kind of cover the entire spectrum of like our journeys pre-surgery and things that happen immediately post-op and also into maintenance and plastic surgery and dating and relationships. But I think when we ask these questions, I'm always reminded of just like how much more there is to talk about. And that's why we wanted to do this podcast and why we are having a season 2, because there's so much more to talk about. So I'm going to try to pick the ones that I think we haven't touched on necessarily. And we'll go from there. So here's the first one. What are your tips for staying the course when your weight loss slows down or stalls after you have weight loss surgery?
Oh, baby. I mean, listen, my tips are going to be don't do as I say, do as I say, not as I do. Just because I have the tips and I know what to do doesn't mean I always follow them. So it is easier said than done. And I think ultimately the cheesy, awful, true answer is like, trust the process and keep doing what you're doing. Weight loss stalls are normal. Weight loss is not a full down roller coaster. You are going to have ups and downs. Your body is going to fluctuate. Your body is adjusting to a lot at a very rapid pace. And sometimes it takes a second to catch up. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. I think the biggest thing you can do is check in with yourself and ask yourself, am I doing all these things? Am I getting enough protein? Am I getting enough water? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I moving my body? Have I pooped lately? Like all of the things, because let me tell you.
Go ahead, hit them with the knowledge.
Poop can make all the difference. So I think checking in with yourself, making sure you're doing the things you know you need to be doing and hitting those basics. And if you're doing all of those things and you're having a stall, it is normal. You are not alone. And just give yourself some patience and some grace. And it sometimes just takes some time.
Yeah. Yeah. I would also say to not be too hard on yourself and remember that a stall is not a couple of days or a week. A stall is like a really extended period of time. And I think what you said, Lisa, is exactly accurate. I would also add that if you are in a true stall, like it's been months and you're not losing weight and you really feel like you're doing all the things and checking in with yourself and doing everything that you can do that's within your control and you're still not losing weight and you're not where you want to be, ask for help. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned on this whole journey is like, I spent my entire life thinking that this was entirely on me and it was my fault if it wasn't working. And I, you know, and that's just not true. And I think if there's any message that I could give to people, it's like, ask for help. Find a doctor who understands the disease of obesity and how to treat it and is willing to kind of follow you along the way and help you with that. Maybe that's your bariatric surgery team. Maybe it's not. Maybe you have to find someone different, but don't feel like you have to go it alone.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well said.
I got nothing.
All right. Well, that's cool because I have another question. And Allie, I'm going to give you this. You get first rights to answer this one. I think it's a good one, actually.
Oh.
What's one thing you would change about your weight loss journey if you could?
My boobs. I'm gonna go with my boobs, Ron.
I don't think that's what they meant.
I know. I don't know that I would change much, to be honest. I mean, yeah, literally the only thing I can think of that I would change is like where I lost weight. I'm not joking. I everything else I'm glad I went through.
Yeah.
It wasn't all rainbows and butterflies, I guess, but for the most part, I feel like I was pretty lucky with how things turned out. I was like very strict and regimented for so long post surgery, and I think I may answer that I would have changed that, but I'm also really glad I did that because I think it taught me a lot about what I don't want and why I did this. So I'm pretty happy with it.
What about you, Kasey?
Yeah, I think for me, it would be I would have been more open with my journey with people. I know I know that always feels like so silly to say because most people who are listening to this podcast know me from Instagram and where I have been very open on Instagram, but I was so secretive about this process with people in my real life. I mean, I literally didn't even tell my own family until after I had weight loss surgery. Yeah. I think that's something I wish I could go back and change that. I think it's made it in some ways a lot harder to start to tell people after the fact, now that it's been so long. And you need people, you need support, you need people who are in your corner and there for you. And I think I wish I would have told more people.
Yeah.
Lisa?
I wish I was less hard on myself then and now. Yeah, it's a chronic thing for me. And I wish I had the knowledge to start working on trust and trusting myself before surgery, because I didn't know, right? You can only do the best you can with the knowledge that you have. I didn't realize how much lack of trust I had, and I didn't realize how important that was going to be in this journey for me. And I'm doing all of that work now, and it's great that I'm doing it. And sometimes I wonder, like, oh man, if I had developed a trusting relationship with my body pre-surgery, it's easy to like say, you wonder what, if then, hindsight's 2020. But I wish I was less hard on myself and was able to celebrate my little wins a little bit more.
You've had some big ones too. I have a question.
Yeah, I mean, did you submit it? Because we're answering submitted questions this evening.
Yeah, I'm saying I have a question I'd like to read from one of our listeners who submitted it, if that's okay.
Can you make a formal submission for that question, please?
Is there a comment box here too? I'm about to ream you out.
I'm so sorry. I thought you were going rogue, which
no,
to be fair is a valid assumption.
Yeah, I'm born for going rogue.
What's your question?
I don't know where to start. I kind of love this. Also, these people are so nice. Like 5 of these at least are about like, how do we get more than 1 episode a week?
Aww.
How do we, when are you starting back up? Can you make them longer? I love you guys. Not you guys, those people that are listening.
Yeah, she doesn't like us at all.
Lisa, you wanted to talk about this before. Best travel tips post-op.
Oh, I did. I want to do a whole episode. Guys, let us know, please, because I don't know that my fellow co-hosts are convinced. I like the idea. I think we could talk about travel. I think you just be as prepared as you can be and bring as many of your creature comforts from home on the road with you. Like when I was newly post-op, I remember taking like a 10-day trip and I packed enough Fairlife to get me through that trip. I measured out protein powder. I packed like tuna pouches. I brought home so much food that I never ended up needing.
Yeah.
But knowing that I had it, packing everything I possibly could, like it took up so much space in my suitcase. But just doing as much as you can to keep your routine, because sometimes the routine is, at least for me, it was really important in the beginning, to be able to make sure I got in that protein and hydration. So just doing everything that I possibly could to stay in that routine. Even like, I make a Profi every morning. So I bring with me Fairlife, and then I'll make my cup of coffee in the hotel room, and I bring single collagen packets. And sometimes I even bring my like sugar-free coffee syrup, and I'll straight up make a Profi in my room. I'll bring my little milk frother blender handle thing, because that's how I start my day. And so it's like, no matter where I am in the world, that's how I'm going to start my day. And if you can't pack it, you can, they sell protein shakes everywhere these days. Just like That's my biggest thing. Yeah. Portion out your vitamins and your supplements and have them handy to grab. Like, yeah.
You guys know when I went to Thailand, I got like individual packets of protein powder because I'm a pre-mix girly usually. So I like the shakes that are already made. But I didn't want to have like bags of powder from like a big jug. So I went and got the individual serving packets, and I didn't bring like a frother or anything to mix it up with. So I remember vividly like sitting in the airport in Istanbul, and I had my first one. It was like the most disgusting thing I have ever done in my life because I tried to mix it with just a plastic spoon in like a grande size Starbucks cup with water. And I remember like, I was like, well, bottoms up. Like, this is what we have to do. So we got to get it in somehow. And I did drink it, but it was like clumpy and just like so gross.
Cute.
Definitely don't recommend that. But the individual packets were really helpful after I, grew a brain and tried to figure out how to mix them up a little better. What else?
Yeah. I also think, if you have to travel in those first few months when you're newly post-op, it is hard. But just know that is temporary. And if you can get through those, if it's required travel, like I get it, you travel for work, you got to do it. Like if you can get through that, once you get, further out in your journey, like it really isn't that hard to travel and have a good time.
No, it's so different for me now. Yeah. I still, now I'm a premier girly if it's cinnamon roll.
What is this blasphemy?
I know. You can find that anywhere. So like I was on a 2-week work trip, and I just every Target I'd get a 4-pack, and then at the next Target I'd get another, and it always worked out. I also would like to say I don't want to just do a podcast on travel tips. I just want to do a podcast on eating and drinking out in the wild in general.
Okay. I'm on board with the travel thing though.
But I think we just covered it. So I think it's more than that. It's like navigating restaurants, social settings, like buffets.
I got a little, what is the thing I said earlier? I got a little high on my hog. And I decided I didn't need protein products or whatever. Like I didn't need to pack all the stuff you guys were just talking about because like I'm a normal person now and I can just eat anywhere, and I'm like celebrating that. And that is true. But also I really needed that stuff. And I realized that like I would come back from trips. Like in the last month, I've been saying like I'll come back and I feel so bloated and just like off and tired and whatever. And I think it's because I'm like, if I don't have those like Built bars basically that I was talking about, like, or those types of support products, I go for like salt and vinegar chips, which doesn't end up, surprisingly, not end up sitting as well as I would hope. Anyway.
Yeah, I do think, I'm not always the best about it, but I always try to have like a chomp stick, a Built bar, something in my bag, not even traveling, but like at all times, because I still have that thing where when I get hungry, it's like I need to eat immediately right now or I feel like I'm going to die.
Yeah,
like it's so urgent. And I've never experienced that before. Like before, hunger was just like, it was like I just always wanted food, I think.
Yeah.
But now it's like, no, like I have to eat like right this second. And sometimes it strikes at like inopportune times. Like I was playing volleyball and I started to get like, after our first game, you play 2 games and best of 3. We played 1 game and I was like, I have got to take a break and eat something because like I think I'm going to feel sick if I don't. But I had stuff with me because I always have stuff with me. That's something I didn't do before. That's just become like an ingrained habit that I always have something just in case.
I just did that now. I ate a bar in your kitchen that I pulled out of my purse.
Yeah. All right. I got another good one. Unless you have one, Allie.
No, go ahead. I'm not allowed to have any more.
Why?
I'm joking.
God,
they weren't formally submitted. All right. So this one says, how have you dealt with body dysmorphia? I feel like I look so big when in reality I've lost 120 pounds.
Oh, babe.
Girl, if you figure that out, you let me know.
Let us know, please.
It's hard.
It's so hard. And here's the thing that I always say. I don't know how the outside world perceives me.
No.
I do not know what I look like objectively to know if what I'm seeing is true or not. I don't know if it's dysmorphia because I don't actually know what I look like. So when I look, I'm like, is that what my legs look like to other people? Is that normal? Am I being dramatic? Is this body dysmorphia or like, is this how I really look? It's hard.
Yeah, she's an evil one, dysmorphia. Ooh. And it's funny because when I was 300 pounds, I was like looking in the mirror like, she's beautiful and she looks like svelte. And then now I'm like, what a chunky tub of lard. Not all the time, but like sometimes I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like when did this start poking out and popping and whatever?
You know what I
And
wonder if it's because we're in such smaller bodies that now things are much more obvious.
I also just think it's human nature. Like
Sure.
you don't know what you look like. Everyone that people who have been skinny their whole lives, I'm sure, pass mirrors and they're like, what the heck is that? That is not what I looked like when I left this morning. Or like you shock yourself. Obviously, I think it's like really dramatic with weight loss surgery patients because of all that we've gone through. But like we talked to my mom last week and I remember asking her, like, when does this go away? And she's like, no, it doesn't, honey. It's just
really?
like, she's like, she's like, I always think of myself as a fat girl still. And she's
so
been,
interesting.
Yeah, kind of a normal size for 17 years.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think I was like you, Allie. Like I think I had reverse body dysmorphia before, where I would like look in the mirror and be like, I'm so tiny, and then I would see a picture and be like, sweet Jesus, like
Who's that girl?
Where did she come from?
Why did they do the fat cam thing on me?
No, I would always think my butt could clear spaces it couldn't. Like I'd walk and my butt would literally knock stuff off. And
That's me, but it was my tummy. So at least you had at least baby got back. I had front.
Baby had back.
I got
Let
front.
me tell you.
A lot of front.
Yeah. But like then as I was losing weight, I think I didn't see it in the mirror, but I would see pictures and be shocked at how small I looked in pictures for a while, right? Like that was I would like look the same to myself, but then see a picture and be like, wow, I actually have lost a lot of weight. And I would go shopping and I would still like instinctively reach for the back of the clothing rack where the larger sizes were and then have to be like, no, like you don't actually wear this size anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think over time it kind of changed to where like I could go shopping and I knew what size clothes I wore. I could hold up a pair of jeans and know if something was going to fit or not. And like, sometimes things run big, sometimes they run small. So you can like hold them up and be like, no, I need a 4 in this one, or actually like probably need a 0 in this one because this brand runs big or whatever. Like I could do that, but I didn't see that in the mirror. Like I remember buying a pair of like size 2 jeans and then looking in the mirror and being like, but why don't I look like a size 2? And like, I really, truly did not see that. Like, I didn't see a person who looks like they wear a size 2 jeans. And to the point where I would even like, I was at the Lilly Pulitzer store, speaking of your mom that we talked to last week. And I tried on I forget what it was, but some article of clothing. And I got it in a small and it was too big and I needed the extra small. And I had to ask the sales associate. And I almost felt like I needed to qualify like, oh, I know I don't look that small, but like, I it's just big here. Or like I needed to like let her know that like I know I don't look like an extra small, but like somehow
this is an exception.
In some weird world I do in this one. Like and it's so strange. Like
did you guys put any drugs on these? Because I'm all of a sudden an extra small and my brain must be just totally off. Like
I do it even still now. I've been the same size for months, probably like 5 months maybe. And I'll hold up when I go shopping, first of all, I will hold my breath of like, is this going to fit? But I do it with clothes in my closet. Things I have bought, things I have purchased that I know fit me, that I hold up and I'm like, what? These jeans aren't going to fit. And then they do, but it's like, it doesn't, my brain just does not catch up. I look and I'm like, this does not look like it's going to fit. And then it does.
Yeah. That happens to me all the time still. I can't hold something up. Even when you like, the feeling when you're like putting a shirt or like a dress maybe over your like upper body.
And you know
like,
right away.
You get your arms in there and you're just like, absolutely not. This is not going down.
Yeah.
And then it just like falls down and you're like, oh, like I didn't have to rip any seams or anything. It just came right down.
Yeah. And I think now, I mean, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but like a year ago, I would see pictures of myself in a bathing suit and be like, holy moly, she's smoking. Like never looked better. And this summer has been a little bit different for me. I see pictures of myself in a bathing suit and I start picking things apart and finding things that I don't like. And I don't know if it's that I've just gotten used to how I look now. So that the novelty has worn off of like,
the surprise of this is me.
Yeah. Because I mean, I remember like I had lost like 40 pounds and I saw a picture of myself and I was like, holy moly, who is she?
Smoking.
Like she is looking good. And now I look back at that picture and I'm like, oh, I actually still look very overweight in that picture. But at the time it was so new and it was so exciting. And now I'm like, way into maintenance. Like, I don't even know what I'm going on 2 years,
Yeah.
a year and a half in maintenance. And I think that like the newness has worn off. So I'm starting to fall back into what I think is like what you said, Allie, just human nature to sort of like not necessarily, I don't have that same like body positivity. Like, oh, she's so hot.
Yeah, it's funny. The perception changes.
Yeah,
I think
it
as
does.
we get used. And I will say I don't think any of us have the answers on the body dysmorphia. A couple of things though that have helped me when I'm having those thoughts or those feelings is to take side by sides, is to take a picture in my current body, especially if I know I have an old picture in the same clothes that I can put on and make that side by side. That kind of helps my brain. And something else that my like therapist has made me do, which honestly isn't really my favorite, but maybe it'll help somebody else, is to take a picture. If I'm looking at a picture and I'm picking it apart, there's something that bothers me about it, to look at it and describe myself objectively and go like part by part through my body. I have brown hair. I have brown eyes. I am 5'5". And like objectively state every fact about my body that has no subjective opinion whatsoever. No, like I have fat thighs, like none of that, just like very objectively describe myself. Yeah,
that's interesting.
I force my kids to do something similar, but I do it in front of a mirror. Like if I notice I don't want them to like see me or hear me say I don't like a picture. So like when we're in a setting with them, if we take one, I will never say like, can I see it or whatever. I just, whatever. And even before surgery, I was like, I'm not doing this in front of them. And so now like we went away this weekend and I got a new dress and I was really feeling myself in it. And so I'm standing in a bathroom, like waiting for them to come out, and there's a full length mirror, and I'm like looking at myself, like turning around. And I'm like, God, this is awesome. It was a size small, like tennis dress kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I saw that picture. You looked so cute.
I loved it. And I think it's important for them to see like positive stuff. So it like makes me cringe, but I'll be like, my gosh, I look so beautiful. And then I will force them to look in the mirror and tell me like a thing they love about themselves, like physically. Like they have a ton of wonderful qualities, obviously, like inside. But I also want to hear them say like, I'm beautiful or whatever. And obviously that's different than like an objective description. But I do think it helps me sometimes too. Like when I hear myself say it, even though it's just for them most of the time, I feel better after saying it.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I also think it's objectively helpful to see, like Kasey, you have said, I know what your size is relatively. And to me, you are so much smaller than me. But our clothes sizing is pretty similar. A couple weeks ago, I was like, let me borrow a sweatshirt. What's the biggest one you have? And you're like, literally any of them will fit you. Yeah. I see like you guys, like I've always said, like your tummy is like completely flat. Like, how? I want this. And I look at you guys and I'm like, oh, we wear comparable sizes. It's helpful for me to see people.
I'm bigger than both of you.
Yeah, but not like up top. Like if we could share
no,
shirts.
not up top.
Yeah,
I'm wearing Kasey's belt right now.
Wearing my belt. That's a size extra small.
I mean,
okay, but like your jeans wouldn't fit me, and that's okay. That's not. We're just
the
built
difference between a 6 and an 8 is not too big. Like it's
no, it's true. It's literally like an inch probably between each size, right? Like it's barely anything.
And I mean, like different builds and stuff. I get all of that. I just like to me, you guys look so much smaller than me in my head. But then I also remind myself that like, oh no, this is like, I don't look like you guys, but like my body size is comparable.
Yeah.
Objectively, it has to be. That is helpful because I can see that you guys look like normal size small people. You know what I mean?
It's so funny because I consider myself the ugly duckling of the three of us. And that's like, it's just so, not really. Like, I'm not looking for pity. I did just get Botox, so I understand. Fine. Just kidding. I just think it is a testament to like the way we view ourselves is so differently from the way the outside world views us. Like, truly.
Yeah. Well, you're the only one that's like people are trying to hit on Instagram too. So
it's true.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's true. I don't get any.
I'm also the only single one, so
I don't think they care.
Come and get it,
I don't
fellas.
think that's it. And I do have the people that have asked me if I want to be a sugar baby, but I think we've gotten the same people asking.
Oh yeah, Allie did. She felt really good. She got this message, and I was like, "Hey, babes, I hate to break it to you, but I got the same one."
Yeah, I was like, "Wow, look at this, guys! I finally made it."
I didn't get that message, and I feel
They
offended.
just thought you were out of their league.
She probably, that was her assistant probably filtered it. And did
Oh
that.
yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I
that's
wish.
what it was.
Wish
Am I
had an
allowed to ask
assistant.
another question?
Absolutely.
You have the floor. I'm glad this is the finale. Otherwise, I would
Right,
quit.
you'll never live it down if you didn't. I don't know that this has ever happened to me, but it is interesting. Do you feel hurt when people introduce your surgery first before anything else? Has that ever happened to you?
No,
That's
that has never
never-
happened to me. I'm trying to understand what that would even sound like.
Like, oh, this is my friend. She had bariatric surgery.
Well, I did. Wait, you guys, I did this to you. Remember?
These
when-
are my surgery friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Did I hurt your feelings when I did that?
I guess, I mean, Katie kind of did that at her wedding,
No.
right? She was like, these are my bariatric friends.
She did. Well, and
But I loved that because that's how we know each other.
Excuse me, Katie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure what she was saying is these are my favorite friends,
Yeah.
is what she was saying.
Yeah, if that happens to you, I would encourage you to just replace whatever surgery you had with favorite.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the answer. What they're actually
Most
saying
beautiful.
is stunning friend.
That's never.
I think if it's someone who you're very close with, you should tell them that bothers you, if it bothers you.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
I wonder, I kind of thought about it as like, Lisa, you said when people ask you what you've done to lose weight, that's like the last thing you list.
Yeah. Unless that's what they mean in the
Yeah.
context of what did you do, that they say
Oh.
weight loss or they say weight loss surgery before everything else. That I would get defensive. I would be like, well, I did all these other things too. I didn't just have weight loss surgery.
Yeah, that's always the first thing I list.
Have you guys met my friend Tom? It's one of Bill's friends.
Mhm.
And he's also on the volleyball team. Anyway, so he came to pick up his dog Gus that I was watching here, and he saw the podcast set up, and he's like, "Oh, what is this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's we record our
Nothing.
our podcast here." And he's like, "What's the podcast about?" And I said something. I was like, "Oh, well, it's like my friends Allie and Lisa. You might have met them. All three of us had bariatric surgery, so we have a podcast about that." And he was like, "Oh." Silence. Just complete silence.
I think people, especially maybe men, just don't know how to respond
got-
or
yeah.
what the appropriate thing to say.
The guys I was with
is.
this weekend, one of them who's like been one of my best friends for 10 plus years, he was talking about, they were talking about how he hooked up with a girl and he called her curvy. Like meaning it in the nicest way, but like I guess she took offense to it.
Mhm.
And then they were both still kind of drunk and hungover the next morning, and she had a Peloton in the room. He said something about like, yeah, hop on the Peloton as like, he's like, I meant like sweat it out. Like I would do the same thing. I didn't like mean it, whatever.
Oh no.
So like apparently 6 months later, whatever, this girl turns up with like a super revenge body. And my friend is like so aloof and like just oafy, big, lovable human being. And he's like, he didn't put it together that was what it was. And one of our other friends was like, yes, they call him Mooch. They're like, Mooch, it was 100% a revenge body for you because you called her curvy and then suggested
And
she
told her
work
to
out.
get on the
And I was like,
Peloton.
guys, as a person, as a big girl at heart, I don't know that I would love you telling me to get on the Peloton, but curvy is a very nice thing to say when you're a bigger person, in my opinion.
I think it depends on the
Oh,
mindset
I
that you
don't-
are in as that person.
I mean,
if
yeah.
you are not feeling good about your body and someone says you're curvy, it's like, cool, yeah, you think I'm fat. It was the get on the Peloton for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
did. I
Mooch.
reacted really badly to that too. And then he explained himself and I'm like, oh, whatever. Anyway,
All right, should we get back to the questions?
Yes, please.
no.
Kasey, your turn.
All right. So this person wants to know where we used to shop before we lost weight and where we shop now.
I love this question.
I knew you would.
Dude, I didn't shop. I shopped in my aunt's closet. She just gave me
No,
everything.
see, I have loved clothes since the dawn of time. And I used to get so frustrated that my options were like Lane Bryant.
We should say Lane Bryant's come a long way.
Lane Bryant has come a long way. And a place that I loved was Torrid. That wasn't my
Oh, yeah.
whole like overweight shopping journey, but Torrid came onto the scene.
Torrid also came a long way.
Totally.
Because Torrid, wasn't that like a kind of gothy looking back
Was
in the
it?
day? Like I remember my mom taking me there and it was like plaid skirts and fishnets and like, but not in a like sexy way, in like
but
a
some of their
very
stuff was cute.
punk rocky way back like way long ago.
Well, and I remember I guess I was probably older now, but I remember getting really excited when like Forever 21 had a plus section.
Oh, yes. I remember my first pair of jeans from Forever 21 that were plus size.
If I went with my friends, I would like, my best friend, well, did not. I was like, I'm going to go to my section, but I would always try to like hide and sneak because it was always separated. And like, this is the plus section. I didn't want people to know, but I was really excited when Forever 21 came out. And Old Navy, depending on like, because Old Navy, they're even more size inclusive now, but they went up to a 20.
And now in stores, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was usually like an 18, 20. Now, wherever the heck I want.
Yeah. Wherever the frick I want.
The best feeling on the planet that I can literally shop at the places. My favorite things to do now is shop at like boutiques when I'm in cities and stuff, to go to like local boutiques.
I should do that more. I don't think I still am like so
favorite.
off about
Well,
them.
because I used to like, and I still do this sometimes, but I would go on trips and I would buy like sweatshirts or a t-shirt or sweatpants. And I'm like, oh my God, I have so many sweatshirts that say a city name on it. And now I try to buy like a cute dress or a cute this. And I'm like, oh, this I got when I was in Arizona with my mom. And, that makes me think of that trip and it's unique. And then people are like, oh, it's so cute. Where'd you get it? And I'm like, a boutique. You can't have it.
I hate you.
What about you guys?
I think I did for a long time I didn't invest in clothes because I was always trying to lose weight. So I never wanted to spend a lot of money on clothes. So I definitely shopped at Old Navy a lot, and Old Navy's great, but their pieces don't last, right? So you're like buying new clothes every single season. I can remember when Loft introduced their plus size line
and then got rid of it way too quickly.
I didn't realize they got rid of it.
Yeah. Well, I think they own Lane Bryant. So they were like cannibalizing their own profit from doing this. And it wasn't like a business. It didn't make any sense because I looked into this like heavily.
That's sad.
I had a dress from Loft that was a size 22. I literally talked about it today with my aunt. And it was my favorite thing to wear. And I was like, if I could find more dresses like this, I would be so happy. It was like a wrap dress. It was bright pink, paisley, gorgeous to me.
That's the thing. It was just so hard, especially if I needed an outfit for something specific.
Yeah.
It was just like my options were so limited.
Yeah.
Sorry, I totally cut you off.
One of my like favorite work dresses was from Loft. And I actually have this memory of I bought wide calf boots from somewhere at some point, and I was walking into work and this woman stopped me, and I felt like I looked so cute because I had my Loft dress on and it was these knee-high wide calf boots in this like camel color, and they went with the dress and I felt really cute. And she stopped me and she was like, can I ask you where you got your boots? And I can't remember now where they were from, but I told her, and I'm
cringing right now.
She was like, oh, they're so cute. It's really hard to find boots for people our size. And she was like a very big woman. And I was like, oh, why couldn't you just say they were cute?
Why couldn't you just stop there?
Why did this have to be?
Yeah. And I just was like, man, even like, I find something I finally feel good in and someone has to like
you did
recognize that like
I'm
this
sure.
Well, I think, wide calf boots often have like that panel in the back. And I think they like had
giveaway.
That panel that it's like, yeah. Anyway, so I do remember summers were always really tough for me because I didn't like wearing shorts, but like it's hot as heck here. And I can remember the summer before I had weight loss surgery, I was like, I'm just going to invest in like clothes that I actually feel good in. So I went to Athleta and I bought a couple of skirts that had like the shorts underneath so your legs wouldn't rub together. They were a size 18. Which is so crazy to think about now. And they had some like nice t-shirts I think I bought in like a 1X. And I spent a lot of money on these clothes for the first time in a while. And I wore them all summer long and I felt great in them. And I was very grateful to have had a store like Athleta that went up to a size, whatever they go up to. I think they go up to like I don't know, 20, 22, something like that. Now, where do I shop?
Wherever you want.
I shop at Madewell a lot. I really love Madewell. I don't know. I'll go to Nordstrom and see what they have. Free People. I also like Free People.
It's just nice to have the options.
Yeah.
Or I even found like things like Halloween costumes.
Oh, yeah.
Were always so
I haven't done that yet.
hard. And just knowing that I can get like a standard made and it will fit me. The boots too. I remember this winter.
With the fur?
Yeah, exactly. With the fur.
The boots are huge.
That I never in my life can I remember ever fitting in a standard calf boot. I grew up horseback riding, and I showed competitively, and you wear tall boots, and I had to have mine custom made because they had to add a giant strip of leather and sew it together and make it look seamless for showing because none of the boots that you could just buy for sale fit my leg. And then I went to DSW this past winter and needed boots, and I got the wide calf. I was like, yeah, I have a massive calves, and they were flopping around all over my leg.
Yeah.
And then I put on regular calf, and I was like, oh my God, they fit like a glove. And it was a moment.
That's amazing though.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
Things you
those
don't think
existed
about.
because even with my entire family being like morbidly obese, we didn't have bigger legs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I never knew. And then a friend of mine in college who was not a big girl, like maybe, I don't know, size 6, she always needed wide calf boots because her calves were like muscular big. Like they looked, big.
I teeter on the edge. I mean, they fit. The regular ones fit, but I have larger calves. And so it's always like, is this going to work?
When I think that it's not a weight thing because you are objectively
body
quite
builds.
healthy now. And sometimes your calves are just your calves.
We talked about this a little bit earlier before we started recording. I like not a place to shop, but that I don't feel like I have to always have one piece that's tighter and one that's bigger or whatever. I do still like that a lot because I like wearing like looser pants. But it's nice to not feel like I have to like show everyone exactly what my body looks like all the time. And I don't know if that's a mental thing or physical, probably both, but that's been fun. And also I have done Nuuly forever.
Yeah.
And that's been kind of a fun way to just like experiment and explore, I don't know, what my style is because I literally never shopped before.
Yeah.
So now I've done the Nuuly thing, and through that I've liked Anthropology a lot. But I think it's again because it's not doesn't have to be form fitting or I don't worry about it being.
And I know what you mean. Like before I'd always feel like I needed to like accentuate my waist so that I didn't look bigger, like, make sure things like fit me just right to be flattering. And now it's kind of like,
I like that.
You can wear whatever you want. And
I think, and Kasey, you touched on this in an episode recently, just like the freedom of knowing that I'll find something that fits me. Like if I need a dress for a specific event, it's not weeks of going to different malls on the weekends and trying everything I possibly can and ordering things. Because I know I can just walk into regular stores and I can go to all of them and I'll find something that.
And you guys are organized. Like imagine the panic when you 3 days before an event realize you have nothing to wear. That's me.
Yeah, no, even like this wedding that I'm going to, I had a dress I could wear, but I was kind of like not totally feeling it and I wanted something new. And I ordered one dress in one size. I mean, I looked at the size chart, so I was like pretty sure it was going to fit. But I can remember in those same scenarios before ordering at least 6 different dresses because I had to try them on to make sure that they were flattering and like did they show my belly and
I would get them in multiple sizes too.
Multiple sizes because you didn't know what was going to fit and so it was like really nice to order a single dress and then try it on and be like, yeah, it's actually kind of perfect.
That didn't happen for me. Have I told you guys about the bridesmaid dress saga? At 300 some pounds, I ordered a dress from a site I shall not name. Fit like a glove. I did not get it altered, whatever, for a wedding I was in. And then for my sister's wedding, I did the same thing and looked at the size chart. And I ordered the small. That's what it said I should get, which felt wild to me. And then reality check, it was wild to me. It should not have been what I ordered. Could not get it zipped up. So I ordered a medium. And then I think that fit less than the small. I don't know how, but like, when you can see your belly button through a dress.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah,
that's what happened with the medium. Did not happen with the small. I have pictures to prove it. And I swear I could get it zipped less than the other one. And the other new fun thing for me is that I'm so terrified of zipping my loose skin into something. So I'm like, me and my husband are like using all of our might to get me into this medium. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like I didn't have weight loss surgery to like struggle my way into a dress. So I send that back. And then I had to order a dress in a different color because there weren't any that were like ready to ship.
Oh no.
By the time I finally got it all together, I ended up having to order an extra large.
That feels like an issue with the site.
Right?
It is an issue with the site. But can I tell you, this happened to me this week. I went shopping this weekend. And I had one of those things where I saw a top I really liked as I was coming out of the fitting room and going to check out.
Yeah, you're not going
And
back
I was
in.
like, I'm not going back in. That top is really cute. I know I'm pretty much a medium. I'm going to grab the medium and take it home. I got home and the medium was too small. And for the first time, I think maybe ever, I didn't beat myself up about it. I went back and I exchanged it for the large. I was like, no, I like this top.
Yeah.
It's cut small.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get the size that I feel best in. And even the large was like kind of digging. I think it's just the style of the top, but I felt much better in it.
It's a them problem.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
issue
it's
is
not a
I
me
always
problem.
thought it was a them problem.
But now it really is.
But also if your sizing is on your website like that and I'm getting out a tape measure,
right. You're full on lying to me.
It is your problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All
anyway,
right, next question.
what was the hardest and best part of your bariatric journey so far? Kasey, you want to go first since we never ask you questions?
Thanks, guys. Oh boy.
It's because she's like the mom.
She's the one that keeps us on track.
She keeps us all
Yeah.
together. And
Look, right now she's
it's
not
always-
doing it, and look what we're doing.
It's because it's always the mom that gets forgotten. The mom does everything and gets no
the unsung
gratitude.
hero.
Truly.
Yeah.
That's me.
She's so humble.
Really and truly, the pre-op diet was the hardest part
Really?
of the entire thing for me. Yeah.
You think the pre-op diet is harder than any of the like body image stuff you deal with in current life?
I think so, because not only was it physically hard, but it also made me really question my capacity to be successful at this. And I
Okay.
think that was hard. So it wasn't just like, it sucks that you can't eat. It was like, I am really having a hard time not eating. And does this mean that I'm not cut out for this and I'm going to fail? And
Right. If I
like,
can't even do this, how am I
Yeah.
And by the way, it
expected?
doesn't for anyone
Yeah,
listening.
yeah,
in
yeah,
that
No,
phase.
I've
Has-
been
Case in
yeah.
point.
I've been fine afterwards. Like it was like, a switch flipped and I was totally fine. But that pre-op diet was really, really hard. I think the best part has been the like mental freedom that comes with weight loss.
Mhm.
I think there's so many things that you don't realize how much struggling with your weight takes a toll on your day-to-day life until those things are removed. And it's like just not thinking about what your body looks like or what it can do or not do or how other people are going to perceive you. And it's so many little things that you can't even really comprehend that make life harder when you're obese that are suddenly not harder. And I think that's been the best part for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good one. I think it comes as no surprise that the hardest part for me is the mental stuff. I'm not shy about that. That's definitely been my hardest part. My brain catching up with what's happening with my body and unlearning and retraining so many core beliefs and ingrained patterns and habits and rules. And the best part, I think the best part is probably all of the things I'm able to see I'm capable of now.
Yeah.
Even like in bar the other day, we had to, at the end of the night, like hug our legs to our chest and rock back and forth. And I could do it. I could reach my legs to my chest and, things Ben will ask me to do in the gym. And I'm like, he's like, even sometimes he's surprised. He's like, whoa, you're like, your body's not moving at all when you're doing that core thing. Like it's been really, really cool to see all of the things that I'm capable of that I didn't ever think were possible.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Do you want to ask me, Lisa?
I mean, I looked at you.
Allie,
I know.
would you like to answer the question?
Okay. I think the hardest part, practically speaking, the hardest part was still the first day of the pre-op diet for me. Not having caffeine, adjusting. My boss was in town. It was like just hard. And I hadn't figured out yet like yogurt, or I was allowed to have yogurt, I think, for a little bit during it. And I hadn't figured out that like actually going through the motions of like eating, like physically, like putting my hand to my mouth, like it made me feel a lot more normal. So that first day I didn't have that. And I really struggled and had a massive headache and just felt like, yeah, I don't know if I can do this. The mental stuff has been hard. The relationship stuff has been really hard, but I also feel like really lucky to be having those problems, to be honest. not that they haven't been hard, but I don't think they've been the hardest part for me because there's such a silver lining there. I think those relationship things, those mental things, I would have been fighting at 300 pounds at some point or another.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting to fight them in a body that I feel much more comfortable in. So it's definitely a thing. I just don't think it's the hardest thing for me.
Yeah.
The best part, it's hard to pick one. The brain space, like Kasey mentioned, the like mental capacity, I think is very different. Even like it's no secret that I take Adderall, but like the prescribed Adderall in real life.
Not off the black market.
Yeah, I'm not like getting it from a guy in an alley, but I don't think I need that as much. I mean, I still need it a lot, but like I find that my ability to focus on things is very different than it was before losing weight. And I don't think it has anything to do with my body. I think it has everything to do with the mental capacity that I was giving to like just managing what I felt like, looked like, whatever. And so that's definitely, I think, one of the best things. And then the other one for me is just energy wise, I just feel so much better. And we know I always worked out or whatever, but now I work out and continue to live an active life with my kids. And I think before I would work out really hard for an hour or whatever, and then be like zonked the rest of the day. We were talking about the race. Like I would have pushed myself to do that 10K that we just did that I didn't train for. I would have pushed myself to do it. I probably would have hurt myself, but I would have done it. And then I would have been like laid out for a month or two. But that day I did it and then proceeded to do like 10 other things with my kids and I felt fine.
Yeah, that was like a good example of like you and I both like we ran a 10K.
Like willy-nilly.
Not completely unprepared, but not super trained.
Yeah.
And then we both had like very long, full, fun Sundays.
Oh yeah, we went to a brewery that day. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
And I did the smart thing and didn't run and just went to the brewery.
Well, no, I was thinking about you, Lisa, because as I was getting ready for the brewery, I had just gotten out of the shower and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired.
And you're like, and I'm like, just waking up.
No, Lisa did a 10-mile race and then went on a date that night. And me and Kasey were like, you're crazy.
Folks.
And then here I am, sure enough, getting dressed to go to a brewery after this run. And I'm like, man, I'm not even dating this guy whose birthday it is.
Yeah.
I was, but
yeah. Well, I got to see Lenny. So.
And then I remember the escalator was broken and we had to walk down it and I was like limping from the race and I had to do the hobble down with the one leg straight.
I would have been like, we're going to have to get to a different metro and then we're Ubering from there.
I think that's one of those things too that's very freeing that like in my heavier body, I don't think I wouldn't have felt comfortable. I would have been so mortified. And in that moment, I was like, it is what it is, man. I just ran 10 miles.
It was the chicken wings at the field.
Yeah,
on
eating
a plate.
chicken wings on a plate. Yeah. I'm like, I need food. Like you said, when I get hungry, I get hungry. And I'm like, I'm going to need some food. And I remember he was like, you're doing great. You don't look good, but you're doing great.
Keep it up there, kid.
Yeah, I was like, I literally don't. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, and I think it's like, I don't know that is reality, that like everything was attributed to your weight. Like you could have been 250 pounds and asked for chicken wings and most people probably wouldn't have even thought twice about it. But
oh God, I would have, inside my own head about it though.
Yeah, but it's like, it's that constant thought of like, you can't just exist and live your life as you are without thinking about everything coming back to your weight. And what is someone thinking about this? And are they going to think, oh, there's that fat girl asking for food again? Or there's that chubby girl hobbling down the escalator. What did she do? One squat? Like,
yeah. Like, oh, you couldn't have waited until after your game? Fatty, you just had to have your chicken wings now?
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you know what? It just took me 45 minutes to find parking and I missed chicken wings at the bar before the game.
And also you don't have to justify it anymore.
When I didn't care, I was like, I'm going to sit here and eat my chicken wings.
Yeah,
like you just get to exist and you get to like enjoy life and moments without like having that constant thought in your head. And it's
noise.
Yeah. It's like indescribable, honestly.
It really is. And things other people like don't even think about, people that haven't been overweight.
And it's so hard to articulate that though too.
Because if you haven't lived it, if you haven't experienced it, you can't, I don't believe you can truly get it.
Because also when you say it to someone who has been overweight, they're like, oh yeah. You don't have to explain it.
Yeah.
Like it just clicks.
Yeah. Okay. Have any of you relapsed and gone back into old ways of eating and regained weight?
Wow. They have a camera in my house? You know what? I think that's where I start to get, like, when I start to maybe have panicky thoughts or like have feelings of like body dysmorphia comes back heavy or whatever. It's less I think about the scale. Of course, that matters to me a little bit, but I think it's more concerning for me when I know that some of those habits I'm starting to slip into. And I just think that's part of the process. I don't think you become a new person from doing this. I think you have to work on those things, and if you don't do them or you don't fall down, sometimes you don't get the opportunity to work on them.
It's true. And, you know, my dietitian said this to me recently, and I've been kind of thinking it a lot. And I was struggling. I was having a day where I was really struggling with my body image and where I was at in my journey. And she said, you know, you're in this for the long haul. This is not like, this is for life. And number one, the scale doesn't tell the whole story. And I think, I'm really quick to see the scale go up a little bit and be like, oh, this is it. It's all over. I'm gaining it all back now. This is it. This is where I fail. And I think it's really, sometimes it's, yes, Allie, like you said, asking yourself, am I, you know, have I done something to contribute to this? And sometimes it's me asking myself, like, is this really the end? Like, let's check some facts here. Like, or did you just not get enough sleep last night? Or did you eat dinner out and it had a lot of sodium? Or like, what, you know, what is reality here and what is a panic scenario that my anxiety is creating in my head? Because I don't know. We're all fluctuating right now, and I think we're all struggling in our own ways. I don't know that I would classify any of what we're experiencing as regain.
Oh no.
Speak for yourselves.
I think it's the same thing as a stall, though, in the reverse. That temporary fluctuations are not considered regain, just like a few.
The way that Kasey just shot her eyes at you like laser beams, I am so scared.
Well, okay. So to be fair, I have gained a solid 5 pounds. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but that is actually a lot for me.
Okay. Yeah, no one is discrediting that. That is a lot.
It's not just a temporary fluctuation. It's been several weeks of being at that higher weight.
What's the longest stall you ever had when you were losing?
Like 3 months.
Okay. If the 5 pounds is still there, if the 5 pounds is still there in 3 months, I'll get back on the pod and eat my words. But I don't think
did you just out logic, Kasey?
The doctor. I don't think you can call it regain yet.
I didn't even see where you were going there too. So imagine my surprise.
Well, I've never felt more proud.
Hey, but also, I'm going to be Lisa now. That is a concerning thing, and I see you, and I see where you're coming from.
Thank you for that empathy.
Isn't it? What do you say? You say and, not but.
Thanks,
Okay,
Rebecca.
it could be a stall, and I appreciate where you're coming from.
And it could also be regain.
Was that good, Lisa? Was I emotionally intelligent?
So,
that was
so hard.
that was great. My therapist loves and statements.
I think you're right. It might not be regain, but I think what you both kind of hit on is that what's a little more concerning to me is seeing the scale go up and recognizing that some of those behaviors have changed. So I feel like when I've been in maintenance for what feels like a long time now, I had found like a really good balance of like 80% of the time I did all of the things right, and then 20% of the time it was just, you know, living life and not worrying about it. And I think if I'm really honest with myself, that balance has started to become more like 50-50. And it didn't happen overnight. It wasn't like one day I woke up and I was like, I'm just going to go off the rails today. It was just like slowly little things were like, for example, I didn't drink alcohol for a very long time after surgery. And I'm still not a big drinker, but I've noticed like when we go out, just for whatever reason, I'm like, yeah, I'll have a cocktail. In settings where I would have never had one before.
Or your boyfriend drinks. Like,
yeah.
And you guys are now managing, I think we talked about this a little, like 2 social schedules. Like where you're going to the bar more because you're not just going out with your friends. Now you're going out with his friends or family or whatever. And it's like all of a sudden you're going out twice as much as you were before.
When I don't know if you ever experienced that, like sometimes it's a cause for concern. Oh, you're not drinking? Are you feeling okay? Oh, why aren't you drinking? Can I get you a drink? That's just like...
This is my husband's favorite thing to answer.
What does he say?
Because he always orders a Sprite. He's not a big drinker, you know?
Uh-huh.
Like he'll drink at home or whatever, like have some whiskey, but like he's not a, like happy hour, he'll get like a Sprite or whatever. And like when people ask him why he's not drinking, he's like, what does drinking mean to you? Like, what's this liquid I have in front of me? Like, because he just loves to.
I love that.
Yeah, I love
I
it
don't know.
too.
Yeah.
I think most of my friends know that I'm not a big drinker. So it's never really been that, but it's just like, I don't know. Like we went to the brewery and I don't even like beer. I literally don't like beer. And I was like, I'm going to have a sour today. Like,
Yeah, I did
why?
the same thing. But I found that I liked it, which was even more alarming.
Yeah, same. I actually really like that sour. So I think though that's what's more concerning is it's not just the scale going up. Like 5 pounds is whatever, you know, most of my clothes still fit. Some of them fit a little tighter, but generally they still fit. I still feel pretty good. It's more like I do see some of those old habits starting to creep back. But I think that's why you have to kind of remember, like, this is a lifelong journey. You're in this for the long haul. This is not you don't lose the weight, get to a maintenance weight, and then you're like, okay, now I never have to think about this again.
Right.
I think it's good to remain vigilant. I think for me, weighing myself daily is a good check-in. I also think having accountability through friends and through Instagram and the community that I've built there, that's actually really helpful for me.
Yeah.
To just like always keep this kind of top of mind. So even though I am struggling a little bit with those habits creeping back in and trying to figure out how to change that, I feel like I've caught it early enough that it's not going to spiral into a big issue.
And I think awareness, my therapist says, 3 things are needed for change: awareness, willingness, capability. You have to start with awareness. If you're not aware that there's something, and then it's, do you have the willingness to do something about it? And is it within your capabilities? Do you have the tools and the knowledge to make it happen?
Yeah.
And change isn't going to occur until you have all 3 of those things. And you're laughing, but it really is.
No, it's not that. I'm laughing because we were all so preachy at the beginning of starting this podcast about how we weighed every day so that we would get a grip. We would know if we needed to get a grip on it. And now that time has come. And I'm like, I don't want to get a grip on this.
Yeah. The
willingness is not there.
Willingness
you
isn't
have
there.
not reached willingness yet.
No, I know.
But no, I noticed 2 things that, like, I was walking through Whole Foods the other day. Do you guys know Griot's pickles? Grillos?
Yeah, Grillos. Always
Is it
refrigerated,
Grillos?
never heated. Those ones.
They're the best pickles. And
Well, we'll have a taste test one day.
Okay, sure. I love those pickles. And I was walking by, and the corner display at the Whole Foods aisle had Grillo's dill pickle, like hard ruffle chips. And I was like, those look amazing.
Don't get them.
It's too late. They're in my kitchen.
They are so good.
See, and this is the problem. Here's the thing. I would have never even considered buying them.
Yeah.
And I looked at the label and I saw the carbs and I was like, oh, that's not that bad. If I do like ham and cheese roll-ups and have some chips instead of bread as my carb, like, I'm okay with that. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if that's healthy thinking or excuse thinking. You know what I mean? Like, I literally have no barometer for, like, I just don't know. But I can tell you that 8 months ago, I wouldn't have even considered buying them. I would have been like, chips, nope, not for me.
I
And
think
so there
that's
is
a good thing.
I was looking for chocolate in Kasey's freezer today. I wouldn't have been doing that 8 months ago. Like, part of it is balance.
I'm getting myself together. That's why there's no chocolate in that freezer anymore. There was every other week you were here.
It's cookie dough for dinner, baby. I think that's a good thing because what you just said is true. It's the long haul. So if in the short term those chips make you gain weight, that's okay because in the long term you're not afraid of chips anymore.
Yeah, I see that.
Sure.
Like if you can learn that about yourself now.
Yeah, I don't think I was afraid of chips. I think
I was afraid of like that kind of stuff.
Carbs. Yeah, carbs were just like, no, you got to be more careful with my carbs. But yeah. All right. Do we have time for one more?
Mm-hmm.
Let's give the people what they want.
I feel like I struggle with my making friends and also finding a romantic partner. And I've always been one of those people that says it's because of my weight. But I secretly worry that if I lose weight and those things don't change, then I'll have to confront the fact that it isn't about my weight.
Girl.
She's just trying to one up.
Does she have a camera inside my head?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might not be about your weight, but it doesn't mean it's a you thing. I lost over 100 pounds and I'm still single. I didn't magically find Mr. Right overnight just because I lost weight. And it's not necessarily what was I told recently? It made me mad. I said, my therapist again, shocking. I said, it must be me, because how is it that all of these guys that I meet, every single guy, I'm not worth putting the effort in. I'm not worth prioritizing. I'm not worth fighting for. All of these guys are fine to walk away. How am I not the common denominator? And she was like, maybe it's not that you're the common denominator. Maybe it's that they're all emotionally unavailable men that you're continuing to select.
You're seeking out that.
You're seeking that out, and that it's not you. It's the type of man that you're seeking out. And what this person has asked, I think, hits a nail on the head. That's the type of stuff that I have to confront of why is that who I'm seeking out, and why do I, and I know some of those answers, and I don't need to spill my whole therapy session on the podcast, but
why not? That's what I'm here for.
Give the people what they want.
You haven't cried on this episode yet, so there's
Crushing
still time.
Have any of us yet?
No.
Not yet.
No.
Oh man, it's almost over. But yeah, girl, it or man,
Person,
that is a real possibility. You may lose the weight and find Mr. Right away, and you may not. And it doesn't mean there's anything right or wrong with you. It just means there may be some other stuff to deal with. And don't you want to lose the weight and find that out? Like,
that's what I was going to say.
Don't you want to get there? So if there's other stuff you got to figure out, do it, get to it so that you can experience all the things.
Yeah, I think this was something I did. I attributed so much of my perceived shortcomings in life to my weight. And it was difficult to confront the reality that like those things didn't magically get better when I lost the weight. But I'm also very grateful that I had the opportunity to do that, because I don't know if I would have grown as much as a person. Like I really truly feel like I have grown more personally, emotionally, in so many ways in the last 2.5 years than I have really in my entire life. And I attribute so much of that to like having the ability to have taken away the weight aspect of it, to just really have to like look at yourself and look at your life and say like, okay, this isn't the issue anymore. So what is the issue and what am I going to do about it? And for me, that meant, I think it changed a lot of my perspective on dating, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago, how that changed like how I approached dating and ended up in a relationship with a wonderful man. But my like thought process going into that was totally different than it had been my entire life. It also changed my friendships and the kind of friendships that I was willing to accept and not accept. And that changed a lot of my social dynamics in my life. And I think in ways that were difficult at the time, but for the best for me in the long run, it changed how I thought about my career and what I was capable of there and what I wanted there. And just so many things changed. And I would have never had the time and space to work on those things had I still been chalking everything up to like, well, it's just because I'm fat. So
yeah. Well, it sounds like based on the question too, this person knows that that's probably not true.
Yeah.
And I would say, I haven't experienced that obviously, but I would say I would much rather figure out a lot of things in this body the way I feel today than I had the energy or capacity for 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Preach.
Absolutely.
So I encourage you to do it and figure that stuff out.
Okay, now really last one.
All right. Last one. What is one thing you would go back and tell your former fat self before you lost the weight?
I can't. No.
Oh, gosh.
Are you going to start crying?
You want me to go first? Because mine's not emotional this time.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, no, I don't think I don't have that much, I don't think, advice to offer. I just would say like, let's go, let's do it. Any like hesitation that I had, I would like to kind of wipe off. Yeah. I'll be looking for advice from myself like 10 years from now. I think, because I still, there's just still so much unknown for me.
Yeah. I think I would tell my former self 2 things. One, I would say, you're not that bad. You're not as bad as you think you are. You have a lot to offer people and the world. And now I'm going to start crying.
Do you want me to say it? I would tell you, you're not the worst.
You're not the worst.
She just said that about herself. Come on. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I would tell her, like, you know, think a little more highly of yourself. And I would tell her it's going to get so much better. Way, way better than you think it will.
Yeah. I would say you're going to be okay. And you don't have to be so perfect all the time.
Yeah. It's a good one. All right.
Well, that's a wrap. What was the old, like, how the old, like, Looney Tunes wrap it up? That's all, folks.
We need to cut that. I almost just cut you for saying that. And it's abadi, abadi, abadi. That's all.
Well, we're not cutting that.
Yeah, absolutely not. The whole thing's staying.
Should we close with a song?
Please no. Everyone
Rollin'.
unsubscribes immediately.
Rolling.
All right.
Rolling on a river. Kasey, we're harmonizing here.
I can't.
Kasey, it's called harmonizing. Look it up.
You guys, I just want you to know this is all the stuff that happens all season long that you've not been privy to, and I think you're welcome.
Also, this is why we can only do one a week for everyone that was asking. It's because half of our time is wasted doing this kind of shit.
I said I was leaving an hour and 13 minutes ago, and here I am.
Yeah.
But
we
it's worth
didn't
it.
dally, nor did we dilly.
All right. We
today.
need a closer for this.
Do we?
That was it.
No,
we were closing.
We want to, like, thank people for listening.
Well, I was getting there.
All right.
God, she ruins the flow.
These people, you
We need
guys,
to go, guys.
guys, someone should thank our listeners.
Yes.
Thank you, listeners. Thank you. That feels weird. I forget that people actually listen to it.
It is
like,
weird.
I'm just like, oh, I'm just talking to my two very, very good friends that I met on the internet. And then I go and it's like, oh, there's a new episode of the Former Fat Friend podcast available in your library. And I'm
God,
like,
Kasey
oh,
got
that's me.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I can't believe that people listen to it either. I am
It's
so
really cool.
grateful, and I this is why we set out to do this, and the response has been so fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so grateful for that. I know we all are, but it boggles my mind still.
And I think that goes in one of the best categories, right? In terms of best things that have come out of bariatric surgery.
Oh, yeah.
Is like this community,
guys?
this friendship and sisterhood. Yeah. I mean, and
Absolutely.
just being able to share that, this is exactly what we wanted to do. And it truly, 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 like, any time someone is like, I love the podcast. Thank you for doing this. I keep doing what you're doing. Like, it means more than I could.
And I hope you guys know that when we are in our group chat, like having really bad days, it never fails that like one awesome person who's listened to us sends us like something nice, and we screenshot it every time and send it to
Mhm.
each other because
We
it's
do.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love getting those messages. It never gets old. And we're so grateful to you guys for listening. It means the world to us. I think I've gotten more value from making this podcast than I think I expected. And we hope that you've gotten value from it as well. And we just thank you so much for listening. And we hope you'll come back for season 2.
And in the meantime, if you want to follow us, we are at Former Fat Friend Pod on TikTok and Instagram. And I am at Leaning Into Lisa.
I'm at Allie's losing it _RNY.
And I'm at Maintaining Kasey. We will see you next season.
We will miss you.
Bye.
So long,
Farewell.
I'll be to say goodbye. I hate to go and leave you and leave this pretty side.
Okay.
Goodbye. I'm turning this off.
My tour is already paid for. See ya.